Hi, this is Andrew with B&B Technologies here. This is part 3 of our 4-part series on HP's Agile Manager. Today we're going to look at the defect management module. Okay, so let's look at the defect management module today. So far we've gone over the product backlog, release management module. This part 3, we're going over the defect management module. And then our final part, we'll look at dashboard, administration work, and then we'll look at the builds and source code, which is ALI integration. Alright, so let's add some items here. So consistent with the other modules, top left we have an add item button. This is for adding a new defect. Now we'll show you the clicks through there. So add item takes you to new defect. Template, we could use a template that we created. We haven't created a template yet though. We'll go ahead and do that in our next video. So for now we'll say no value for template. Summary, we will say baseball database errors. Keep it real generic here. You'd want to put a description and then severity. So we'll say that this is a medium. And then we can assign it to our application. So we can leave it as no value, but we'll go ahead and put it on our online retail website application. And then feature, it's relating to baseball, so let's go ahead and stick it on our baseball feature. Release, we'll do our website release 1.0. And then teams, we'll leave this blank for now. And then save. And that added our first defect. Okay, so I went ahead and added a few more defects in here. And let's look at some of the features of using the defect management module. So in the top right we notice we have defect status, and here we have 6 new defects because all of these are a status of new. And then defect severity shows us that we have 1 critical, 2 high, or 1 high, 2 medium, and 2 lows. And of course this can be changed by either going to the defect ID number or double clicking the defect status, and we can change this to various options here: new, open, fixed, closed, propose closed, deferred. We can duplicate it or reject it. Now with the defect management module, the filtering is very similar to the other modules. So we have a window pane here on the left we can expand, and we can filter by, add property, or we can group by and create groups. So that should look very similar. We have a watch button, so we can watch these defects if we want. It gives us a little icon here. On the right side we have another window pane. So this is for buckets, so we can create a bucket and call this one the baseball bucket. And in the baseball bucket we could just click and grab all of our baseball defects and grab them here. It's a good way to stay organized. That way we can show either all items or click the bucket and only show the bucketed items. So a good way to stay organized. So when working with defects, we want to create them in the defect management module, and it gives us a nice view of all of our defects. But when actually working them, we're going to hop back over to the release management module. And in the release management module, we want to look at some of the familiar boards, such as the task board, storyboard, planning board, sprint backlog. So we want to take a peek at all of these. So in the release backlog, we now have all of our defects added, and they're denoted by these broken pieces of paper looking icons. So you can see that all of our defects here, and of course we can always filter by defects only, but for now we're showing defects and user stories. So for each defect we can click it as if it's a user story. We can assign it to a team. So let's go ahead and grab a few of these. All of the user story points are defaulted to 1. So let's grab 2 of these, drag them to team orange. Get the next 2, put them on team green. And the last 2, assign those to team blue. And that way it assigns it to our sprint and our team. You can assign the team in the defect management module when creating it, but I would prefer to use the release backlog to help stay organized. And we did watch one of our defects on the previous screen, so as you can see our little watch eye carries over. So now that we've updated the release backlog, let's take a look at the planning board. So on the planning board now, we can see our defects have come in here, and it's the same icon, but a little bit bigger this time. So it's the piece of paper with the tear in it. And for all of these, you can click and drag just like the user stories. So let's move these around a little bit just to get a feel for what happens. And let's say maybe this green one's done. So Team Green's doing some good work over here. And of course on the sprint backlog you can always filter by status, application, etc. Exactly the same as when working with user stories. So in the sprint backlog we have all of our user stories and defects for our different teams. So let's look first at Team Blue, and we have our two defects here. So baseball defect bats. I didn't name these very well, but just for the sake of this demo, wanted to keep it simple. So we'll add a new task here, and we'll just say fix the bats defect. We'll leave it unassigned for now. Say maybe this will take 3 hours. Save that task. And now for our defect here on Team Blue, we now have the fixed bats defect, and we'll drag that up to our team member. And now you can see we've updated our hours for our team member, and the defect task is now assigned to somebody. So we can do the same thing with our football defect uniforms. So fix uni defect. Maybe let's say this one will take 5 hours. Save that one, and then of course drag it over to our team member that we wanted to assign to, and it updates right there. So let's go ahead and look at Team Green, and let's just add a quick task. Say that one's 6 hours, that looks fine. Assign it to our user. And then finally, Team Orange will do the same thing. Let's look at our defect that's being watched. Add a new task. And then on this one, give it to our only member here. So for some of these tasks or defects, we already have a default task in here. So the default task is fix defect unassigned with 6 hours. So the reason we have those popped in here for different defects and some don't, when I created this I used the default defect template. So when using the default defect template, it gives you a generic fixed defect here, unassigned. So nice feature. I'll go ahead and put that over to our team member. But that's why we have some of them are created with the default template, some weren't, if you're confused. Now that we have the sprint backlog done, we can look at our storyboard. Our storyboard for Team Blue, we have in progress, fixed defect. For baseball bats, we have our whole defect. None of them have more than one task here, but of course on the storyboard we can drag and drop. For one of these user stories, let's say we finished it, move it around, and it's consistent for all of the different teams. Here's an unassigned golf defect. Maybe this one, since it was created with a template, we realize, okay, we don't need this, so we can go ahead and delete it. And Team Orange, we have football defect 1 unassigned. We can drag this over to maybe in progress. And then if we right click it, we can look at the planning. We can look at add task, mark as done, stop watching. So it gives us a few options here. You can always click the ID number and get a more detailed view of it. And then moving on to the task board, again we look at different teams. So Team Blue, we can see our backlog item. So now our new defects are in here. And on the task board it'll show us a breakdown of our tasks. So we have fix the bats defect, maybe this one's moved to in progress. Fix the uniform defect, in progress. Fix defect for the baseball defect bats. This one hasn't been started yet, so we'll leave it there. Hop over to Team Orange, same idea. We have our defect here, 2 tasks. Let's put one of them as in progress. And that is about it for defects. We can go back to the defect management module, and now we can see that some of the information up here is as updated. So one of our defects is closed, these ones are still open, and just gives us a nice detailed view of all of our defects. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for part 4. We'll go over the dashboard, look at some of the graphs and reporting tools we have, and then we'll hop into the administration of AGM. I know we've peeked in there already, but we'll get a more detailed view. And then look at ALI management with builds and source code. So it'll be a good video, so stay tuned for that. And again, thanks for watching.